Welcome to Coffee Commerce. My name is Sean Ramett and I'm the grandson of a coffee farmer from Guyana, South America. On Coffee Commerce, we talk about the stories behind coffee as they relate to society, business, and influence. We have been talking about coffee houses in London, and we've mentioned in the previous episodes that Lloyd's Coffee House and Garraway's Coffee House were places where auctions were held. Predominantly, candle auctions were popular. Lloyd's hosted candle auctions for ship's cargo. It was a fast-paced business where bidding on ship's cargo began when a stub of a candle was lit. The successful bid was the last one before the candle guttered. Garraway's was also a place where merchandise were sold by auction for a limited time, determined by the time it took for an inch of the candle to burn. At the commencement for the sale, the auctioneer would read a description of the goods and the condition on which they were to be disposed of. A piece of candle, usually an inch long, was lit and the bidding started. The last bidder at the time the light went out was then declared the purchaser. As mentioned in the last episode, the Hudson's Bay Company conducted its first sale of furs at Garraway's Coffee House in 1671. Hudson's Bay Company auction was very high profile, drawing a who's who from across London. The auction became something of a gala event, drawing London's elite for the bids. When we think of auction houses today, we think of names such as Sotheby's and Christie's. Both are world-renowned auction houses based in the UK and beyond. Both of these iconic organizations have a common, interesting history. Auctions in sales rooms attached to coffee houses were the beginning of the great auction houses of Sotheby's and Christie's. Newspapers were even reporting on the auctioning of artwork in the coffee houses. In the 1600s and 1700s in the UK, auctions by candles were the norm for the sale of goods and leaseholds. Because the end of the auction was marked by the expiration of a candle flame, it helped to ensure that no bidder could know exactly when the auction would end and make a last-second sniper-type bid. Sometimes, other unpredictable events were used in place of a candle, such as a foot race. Early mention of these types of auctions were seen as early as 1641 in the records of the House of Lords. The fame of these types of auctions spread quickly, and in 1660, Samuel Pepys' diary recorded 2 occasions when the Admiralty sold surplus ships by an inch of candle. That was in November 1660 and September 1662. Pepys also related a hint from the highly successful bidder who had observed that just before expiring, a candle wick always flares up slightly. On seeing this, he would shout his final and winning bid. By the late 1600s, auctions in coffee houses were so popular that the London Gazette began reporting on the artwork auctions in the coffee houses of London. But it would be Stockholm, Sweden that would boast the very first auction houses in the world, the Stockholm Auction House, founded by Baron Claus Verlam in 1674. In the UK, it would be Sotheby's, which was founded in London in 1744 on March 11th, when Samuel Baker presided over the disposal of several hundred scarce and valuable books from the library of an acquaintance. Sotheby's is currently the world's second largest auction house. A couple of decades later, James Christie formed an auction house named after him, Christie's, now the world's largest auction house. Christie's published its first auction catalog in 1766. Although newspaper advertisements that have been found state sales of Christie items back to 1759. A candle auction, or auction by candle, is a variation on the typical English auction that became popular in the 17th and 18th centuries. Candle auctions rapidly became popular, and in 1652, John Milton wrote, "The council thinks it meet to propose the way of selling by an inch of candle as being the most probable means to procure the true value of the goods. As quickly as candle auctions became popular, they went out of favor. It was still common, though, in the sale of ships at Lloyd's Coffee House in London, even to the early 19th century. The Sarah Christiana, among other ships, were offered for sale in a candle auction in 1828. A few candle auctions are still held today as a form of tradition. For example, in Somerset, a plot of church land is sold by candle auction once every 21 years. In Tatworth, the 6-acre plot is auctioned by candle once per year. In Dorset, 2 pieces of land are also auctioned by candle annually. And in Lincolnshire, the 1-acre Whitebread meadow is auctioned by means of a foot race between 2 boys from the town. In today's modern digital age, the concept of the candle auction is still very much alive. A modern-day variant of the candle auction is used in some online auction system today to prevent auction sniping. How it works is a computer randomly selects a time when the auction will end to discourage snipers from attempting to enter a bid at the last second. On June 7, 2016, the auction house and the coffee house come full circle again. And it would be Christie's auction house that would auction off Ivan Ivazovsky's The Turkish Coffee Shop in the Moonlight, an 1857 oil painting on canvas. The painting was sold for £194,500. Quite interesting, as this is where coffee houses began. So far we've been talking about coffee houses and the influence that they've had on businesses and society. But there's also a fair share of conspiracy and plots that have originated in coffee houses. And we'll talk about that in another story with another cup of coffee. Thank you.